And welcome back to Talk of Alabama. Well, with interest rates still hovering near record lows and some record lows, those with equity are asking whether it's a good time to refinance. Here to answer that question is Mark Harmon. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much, Nicole.
You know, we were talking during a commercial break. I remember when my parents in the 80s bought a home. They paid 18% interest rate, and now they're in the 3s.
I know, and I shared, my father often told me that anything that we do today is so much better than what they had. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, and you know, just a few months back, it seemed like they were, you know, people that closed on homes that were getting 4.75 were like, woohoo, this is the best, and
right.
never imagining they'd dip even lower.
That's right. Well, the refinance now, when people are considering whether or not to do it, there's a few things really to consider.
Okay.
You want to make sure you want to understand what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
If it is, many people out there are trying to simply take advantage of lower rates and payments, which is a great thing to do. But there's also other things to consider, such as debt consolidation and things like that.
So rolling it into, you're saying?
That's right.
So if you've got, say, $10,000 on a card, can you roll it into your...
Absolutely you can. Absolutely can. And so what I wanted to kind of go over are 4 things that I think would be great for good Today in Alabama viewers to consider when they're refinancing.
Okay, so let's start with the first one.
Okay. So one great reason to consider doing it is if you have currently an ARM and you want to refinance into a fixed rate. Depending on when you got your initial mortgage, you may have the opportunity to get a fixed rate mortgage, which would take away the anxiety of an adjustable rate mortgage. Yeah,
because once the ARM it goes up, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And also in the same kind of characteristics, people that have a fixed rate may, depending on the outlook on the time that they're going to be in their home, may make more sense to do an ARM.
That's true. Okay. What's another tip?
There, you know, most people are often looking at simply taking advantage of the lower rates. By refinancing your mortgage, you're going to, only by dropping about a half a point on your interest rates, you're really going to feel that in your pocketbook every month, Nicole. Yeah,
because you're looking at, I mean, it could be a few $100, you know, every month to drop your rate.
That's right. And the fourth point I wanted to say, and you mentioned it earlier, was about paying off other debts. A lot of people refer to mortgage debt as kind of a good debt to have because it's tax deductible. Yeah. So by paying off equity lines or consumer debts that have higher payments, sometimes that's a great thing to look at.
What about for somebody out there, you know, it takes obviously money to refinance because all a few $1,000s probably as far as closing it up. So people are like, oh, I need to refinance because I would like my mortgage to go down, but yet I don't have this money. You can roll that rate into the...
Absolutely you can. And a lot of people out there have a misconception and say that I don't have any equity in my property. Yeah. And there are even programs for that. If you are low on your equity where you can still take advantage on loans that are sold to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, even if you don't have great equity positions.
Now, do you think it'll go even lower? I know you're not a, you know, see the future kind of guy, but you know, who would have ever thought they would have gotten this low? Do you think we should wait to refinance, or is this a good time to do it?
It's getting harder and harder to make predictions because we keep setting new records. So I would encourage anybody out there who's considering it to take the time to speak with a professional to see whether or not it makes sense to refinance right now.
And what do you have to do as far as refinancing? I know you've got to pull, you know, your work statements. You've got to provide all kinds of information. So you need to come prepared as well. Know what you're getting into.
And the documentation is heavier than it used to be. If you bought a house 5 or 6 years ago, you probably could get away with less. Yeah. So you do need to expect that as a part of the process.
Okay. What else in closing do people really need to think about or know before they enter the bank or talk to somebody about it?
I would go back to your goals. You know, if your goal is to structure the program to where you have a term that best fits your lifestyle, or if it's simply to improve your cash flow, you know, go in knowing what you want to achieve.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mark Harmon from Aliant Bank. We certainly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Nicole.
Good tips as well. We've got to take a quick break, but keep it right here. We're going to end the show in the kitchen. We'll get to taste that yummy food. We'll be right back.